Hi, welcome back to my channel. We are going to do a June reading wrap up. Let's go. My name is Abby and I make bookish content here on YouTube and on TikTok. I thought I would sit down with you guys after work and do a little reading wrap up. That way I can kind of talk about the books that I read this month, really enjoy getting deep into my thoughts and feelings on each one. And just in case anyone's concerned, I worked bed control today, which means I did wear these scrubs, but I wore them in an office sitting in front of a computer for 12 hours. So no infection risk here. Okay. Thank you. Let's go through the 9 books I read in the month of June. So this month turned out to be basically the reawakening of me loving horror books. And we're going to talk about it. It is now the only thing I want to read. Isn't that interesting? We are going to start in a place that is very close to my heart and talk about Japanese Gothic by Kylie Lee Baker. It's going to come as no surprise that I gave this book 5 stars. This is a book that is about liminal spaces, kind of like a time travel type thing where there are 2 people and one of them is a samurai warrior, quote unquote, but she's a girl, which is not normal. She lives hundreds of years before modern times. Her father has brought her up to be a samurai warrior. They live in a house that is like away from everybody else. They live basically like secluded from everything. And she helps take care of her family. But there's also present day. And the main male character, he's in present day. He thinks his roommate, but he can't remember. So he ends up moving back to Japan with his dad. But things are weird, including he sees a samurai warrior from his window. So they end up meeting up between their 2 worlds. They have to fight to stay alive. Overall, this was an amazing book. This was my introduction to Kylie Lee Baker, and I am so happy to be here. I have bought like more of her books. We're going to get to one of them next, actually. I even bought special editions of these books because I enjoyed this so much. It was the perfect level of creepy, spooky, good times, gory. I can't say enough good things about it. I just loved it. Highly recommend that you pick this book up. Staying right along with my Kylie Lee Baker era, I read Bat Eater and Other Names for Corazing. This is a novel that completely blew my mind, to be honest. I gave this 4.5 stars, so still on a great roll. I actually had a great reading month overall. Had really high scores. Something about me that I do want to tell you is I DNF a lot of books. If I'm not in the mood, if I just don't feel like it's going to be a high-rated book, I DNF pretty much anything I want to because I don't have a lot of free time and I don't want to spend the free time I do have reading books that I don't really care about, you know? So I'm very quick to DNF. So as many books as you see me talk about here, this doesn't even include the books I tried to pick up, which is kind of funny to think about. Anyway, back to this book. This book is about our main character, Cora Zhang. She is a crime scene cleaner in New York. This is all happening right around the pandemic, okay? We're in the middle of the pandemic, and she is cleaning up crime scenes of these Asian women who are being gruesomely unalived. She and her friends are starting to notice a pattern. It also all relates to the fact that Cora's own sister was unalived by somebody. There's like really good talks about racism in here, about the struggle that minorities went through, especially people of Chinese descent during the time of COVID. And I just thought it was very interesting to read. I had a great time with it. Another really good horror book that just made me want to read more horror. There were some people that did not like the end of that book. I actually did like it. I like where she went with it, and I wouldn't change a thing, honestly. Had a great time. Staying right along with the horror theme, we have Tradwife by Saratoga Schaefer. This book was a wild ride, and you can see right around here is when I started tabbing my books. I had a great time with this. This is like very popular right now, the whole concept of being a tradwife and making it a job to be an influencer who basically like sells you the idea of being a tradwife. I had a really fun time with this. This is about a woman who is married to this man who expects her to be basically the perfect housewife, keep the house clean, mind her business, be the perfect, modest, traditional partner. She really gets into that role and she starts a social media account where she portrays herself a certain way, but she gets obsessed with only being portrayed in certain ways, starts hiding things. Then she wants to get pregnant. She thinks a child would fix her loneliness, her relationship with her husband. So she makes a deal with a weird entity in a well, and suddenly she's pregnant. But she's so shocked and surprised to learn that maybe the baby is a little more demonic than she set out for it to be. And she has to figure out how to fix what she's messed up. This ended up taking a turn that completely surprised me. And I don't want to tell you too much because I don't want to ruin it for you. You need to read this book, okay? Read this over yesteryear, actually, because I liked this way more than yesteryear. I want to read this again. That's how much I liked it. Pivoting now to contemporary romance. The dichotomy of women, the dichotomy of my reading tastes. To go from reading Tradwife to doing a total 180 and reading this book, I have multiple layers. What can I say? This is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. This is a contemporary romance with the trope of a pregnancy. So if you don't like that, don't read this. I give this, what did I rate this one? I rated this 4.5 stars. Had a wonderful time following our two main characters, Win and Bo. They meet at a Halloween party. They both have limb defects. He is missing a leg and she has an underdeveloped hand. And I love their relationship. They take care of each other. They are so sweet to each other the whole time. There's not really like a third act breakup because I don't love those, especially when it has to do with miscommunication. Overall, I just thought that this was a wonderful story and it made me go buy more Hannah Bonham Young books so that I can read them. So pick this up if you like contemporary romance. I love her voice in here. And then going right back to my happy place, I picked up another horror novel. This is Strange Buildings by Uketsu. This series is about basically a person who would be maybe like a private investigator type of person. Apparently, these types of mystery horror novels are very popular in Japan, where it's almost like cozy. So in the first book, he uses weird pictures drawn by children and tells a horror/mystery story about it. The second one was Strange Houses, which looked at weird floor plans. Strange Buildings was kind of along the same vibes as the second one, where it looks at strange floor plans. It's like a continuation of the second book. I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars, and it was my least favorite of the series so far. I know there are several more that need to be translated, and I will continue to pick these up because they're just a lot of fun. Like, you have a lot of fun with them. It's very easy to read. I went through it very quickly. It's mostly told in the form of interviews and pictures. And I just think you could pick this up, read it in one day, and not feel bad about it. So this one is good. I just didn't like it as much as the other two. This is where we get into some heavy hitters, okay? This is the first novel in the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. You can tell I had a good time with this. I rated this 4.5 stars, and it was so good. This is about our main character, Ben, who finds out that she has magical abilities where she can manipulate metal. It's a certain type of person that exists in this world that can manipulate metal. They call them allomancers, or if you are and there are several metal groups that you may be able to manipulate. And depending on how many you have access to, determines whether you are Mistborn or not. So Vin is a Mistborn. She gets in with this rebel group. They decide to try to overthrow the Empire. And that's the story. This was really good. Brandon Sanderson just has a way of writing. I've read a couple of things by him and I'm never disappointed. And my husband and I are buddy reading this together. And I can't wait to pick up the second book because following Ben is a journey. There are some twists and turns in this that I didn't see coming, but there were also some that I definitely did see coming. I also think it's a little long for what it is. But overall, a good time. I only knocked off 0.5 stars for that, okay? Next, we have probably close to my favorite book of the month, if not my favorite. This is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. 5 stars. Everybody and their mother is reading this right now. It came out a while ago, but the sequel just came out. And I know it had been delayed by a year or something, or several months. This is a romantic fantasy novel. It follows our main character, Rave. She is a part of a rebel group. There is magic in this. There are fae. There are other magical creatures. There are dragons. This weaves such a beautiful story. Okay? Beautiful. Had a wonderful time following along. And I honestly can't wait to get to the sequel. I didn't cry. I know a lot of people cry with this book, but I didn't cry. It was sad in some parts, but I don't know if I was just so into the story that I just had to keep going, page, page, page. This is a chunk of a book, and I got through it in just a few days. Now I want to pick up the second one. The more I talk about it, the more I just want to drop my entire TBR for the next week or so and just read The Ballad of Falling Dragons. Please tell me not to do that. I have a very long TBR. Anyway, if you pick up any book from this month, let this at least be one of them. Okay. And then my final physical copy that I read this month was Rumors and Whiskey by Victoria Wilder. This is the prettiest little book. So I read another series by this author, The Bourbon Boys. Absolutely loved it. It's like romantic suspense. They're a great time. They're sexy and mysterious and tension filled and good. So when I heard that this author was coming out with a new series, I had to pick it up, obviously. This series is set in Rumors, Tennessee. Rumor, Tennessee, and we follow our main character. She's part of the Crown family. They've survived decades of salacious gossip. And gosh, what is her name? Oh, I remember. Her name's Wynn. So basically, Winona, she's lived her life ashamed of her family because everybody gossips. Her mom is a lot. She can be an asshole. Her grandma is very mystical, spiritual, and not afraid to show it. Well, she's always been ashamed of her family. Now it opens so traumatically. The thing that she goes through, and you hear about it in this first chapter, is wild. I was not expecting it. I don't know why. I just wasn't expecting it. I was reading it and I was like, wow, where is this going? And she gets past that traumatic experience and is now living her life. You'll see how it's interconnected with the Bourbon Boys series, and I did enjoy the crossover. That was so much fun. But Wynn ends up going back to her old life in her small town with her family and is introduced to a guy. All said and done, it was a good time. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. There were some things that I wasn't totally in love with that happened in it. And overall, it just went a lot slower than the Bourbon Boys. I didn't connect as much to the characters, but I still had a really good time. And I do plan to pick up the second book whenever it's released. The last book that I'm going to talk about that I read in June, I read on my Kindle, and it was an advanced reader's copy. It was Pray For Me by Ali Oleander. This is the second book in a spicy romantic, what would you call it? Oh, a dark romance. Why did I forget that word? This is the second book in a dark romance series. The first one was Willing Prey. That one was really good. I don't remember what I rated it, but I'll put it on the screen. I had a great time. So when I got it accepted to read the advanced reader's copy of this book, I put everything down to read it and had a really good time. This one was so much darker than the first one. I will tell you that much. So Pray For Me focuses on Morgan. And Morgan was in a very abusive relationship with a religious zealot who made her feel all these types of ways about herself, even though she is a badass bitch. Okay. The religious stuff was a little triggering for me because it's pretty interesting. I did knock down a little bit off the rating just because I wish it had given us more. She's part of a cult for a little bit, just so you know. And I wish it had given us more. I wanted to know about her life within the cult, but we didn't get to see any of that. I do wish we could have seen that. So basically, she gets away from her husband and she meets this other guy who is the brother of the main male character in the first book. He owns a haunted house. She works at the haunted house seasonally. That's how they meet. And she finds out that she has a little bit of a mask kink. So that's kind of the dark romance part of this book. Well, then her ex-husband comes back to haunt her, quote unquote. He starts leaving her messages and all this stuff. And then the new beau, why can't I remember his name? I can't remember his name, but the new beau now has to protect her. It was a great, sexy time. I recommend it, honestly. That was a great time. And I really hope there's a third book. Can I get approved for that one too? Because I loved it. 4 stars. So those were the 9 books that I read in June. I typically want to read around 10 books, but I've already met my yearly goal for this year and I've increased it. So I have plenty of wiggle room. The 9 books that I read were all pretty much really, really good. Now, for the month of July, I think I really want to focus on reading horror novels and summer novels. I have so many books on my physical TBR that were just made to be read during the summertime. So I want to prioritize some of those because after July and August, I'm not going to want to read them till next year. Anyway, thanks for listening to me absolutely rattle on about books, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.